The Hell Is Us demo just dropped on Steam. I played it, so let's talk about it. The demo took me about 3 hours to complete. Keep in mind, I was taking my time and writing notes down for this video. You could probably run through it in about 2 hours. The goal of the demo is to introduce the game's world, focusing on the main character Remy, as he sets back into Hedea, which is the playable region in the game. It's a third-person action-adventure game that is set to combine intense melee combat with semi-open world exploration, and from what I played in the demo, that world is very atmospheric and intense. Our main character is trying to find his parents who smuggled him out of this region when he was younger. Since then, a civil war has broken out and a mysterious disaster happened, introducing these alien creatures called Hollow-Walkers. You quickly learn that modern weaponry doesn't work on them, such as these bullets bouncing off this enemy here. So you need to use more ancient tech like swords, spears, and axes to fight these supernatural creatures. And you also have a drone that can help you out. The game will have more drone abilities, but in the demo you get access to the distract ability, which does exactly what the name suggests. A good way to use this, especially if you're fighting multiple enemies, is to send your drone to distract one of them while you fight the other. I use this ability pretty much every time off cooldown to turn my fights into 1v1s instead of getting overwhelmed. We will dive more into the combat in a little bit, but I did want to quickly mention that the creative director for this game was the lead art director for Deus Ex, and that the game promises immersive storytelling through pure exploration and tension, and it achieves this by having no map, no quest markers, and no compass. I mean, there's kind of a compass, but that's besides the point. The dev said that the central theme of Hell Is Us is that human violence is a perpetual cycle fueled by human emotions and passions. And as you guys know, I love dark and intense themes, and I also love when games don't hold your hand. I don't want to detract too much from this video, but I do think a massive reason why people stop enjoying games, and I know this firsthand because I was once in this boat, is because we tried so hard to play these games as optimally as we can. So much so that I would pull up guides on the side when just starting every game that I would play, even if it was a single player game. Now, following a guide is not always bad. Of course, if you're playing a game like Path of Exile for the first time, definitely pull up a build guide. And if you enjoy trophy hunting, then yes, have that guide up. But if you're just trying to enjoy your time playing games, I strongly encourage you to not use a guide. Take your own notes if you must. And if there's one thing to take from all of this, stop trying to play games as optimal as you can. But again, that's a whole different video, one that I'll probably do one day. But I did want to mention this, as Hell Is Us is the perfect game for you to do this with. If this game looks good to you, then try out the demo, take some notes, and wander around. I had a great time doing so. The graphics aren't groundbreaking or anything. It's Unreal Engine 5, so it doesn't look terrible, but performance seems to always be an issue with UE5 games. With my 3080 and playing at 1440p, I was able to hold 60 FPS pretty much the entire time, which is good enough for me, especially for a single player game. Now, I could bump down the resolution to 1080p and probably pull more frames, but 1440p it just looks too good in my opinion, so I'm okay with compromising a few FPS here and there. The visual design, especially the creatures and the alien architecture, grabbed me right away. It fit right in with that haunting sci-fi mystery tone the game's going for. It's genuinely very freaky and I'm here for it. One gripe I do have though is with our protagonist Remy. The dude lacks emotion and the lines being delivered in some of the conversations feels very jarring. Now, this isn't anything new. I've been able to enjoy games with jarring dialogue in the past, and the atmosphere of Hell Is Us is enough to keep me invested. And this is only the demo, so maybe as we delve deeper into the game and learn more about Remy, he'll start to open up. The first thing you'll notice about Hell Is Us is how weighty the combat movement feel, in a good way. Everything has this grounded, deliberate momentum to it. The combat is fully melee focused, and I got to try both the sword and axes, which both felt great. Neither weapon seemed outright better than the other, but I did stick with the axes most of the time just because, well, they look cooler. The game does recommend using a controller, and I'd agree. It felt smooth, you can lock onto enemies, swap targets seamlessly, and you've got your dodge and parry systems in play. Now, from what I've seen in the menus, the combat will definitely get more complex later on, with active and passive abilities, plus drone utilities that weren't fully unlocked in the demo. But even with the basics, I walked away with a pretty positive first impression of how the game handles. There are a few cool mechanics layered in too, like the way health and stamina are connected. Your stamina cap is actually tied to your current HP, so if you're sitting at 50% health, that's also your new stamina ceiling until you heal. It forces you to think about how long you can keep pressure up in a fight without getting risky. And speaking of healing, Hell Is Us has this really neat mechanic called the healing pulse. When you land consecutive hits on your enemy, you'll see these faint energy particles start swirling around you. You can tap R1 and then that will absorb all of them and heal you. But if you miss that window or if you take any damage, that'll go away. It rewards aggressive play, and I really enjoyed this healing mechanic. There are also linked enemies which add a bit more strategy. Sometimes you'll find two creatures connected by this weird umbilical cord, with one of them being a haze, this big orange monstrosity. You have to take out the haze first, or the linked Hollow Walker can't be damaged at all. It adds a little extra tension in group fights since targeting order actually matters. And real quick, I've seen people online debating whether this is a Soulslike. It's really not. The death system is pretty forgiving. If you die, you go back to your last save point, but you keep all your quest progress, puzzles, NPC conversations, and defeated enemies. You only lose weapon progression and any enemy loot gained after that last save. So while it borrows a few ideas from the genre, it's definitely more immersive action adventure than hardcore Souls-like in my opinion. For this next segment, just know that I really enjoy solving puzzles and brainstorming solutions, so I'm very biased towards the design philosophy of this game. I love the game's minimalism in terms of no quest markers and maps. I also don't mind taking notes on the side, and Steam is really nice because you can just shift tab and open the notes widget to take notes while in the game, so you don't have to alt tab to a different window like Notepad. So just understand that I eat this stuff up. I enjoy games that ask a lot of me and games that expect me to try and learn the world that I'm in. So during my time with the demo, I didn't find any of the puzzles or navigation very frustrating. If you take your time, read the journal entries, it all pieces together pretty nicely. Now, there are some puzzles that just can't be solved in the demo, and that led to people being upset with the game, but I think most of those are because they don't want to spoil everything obviously in the demo. So like this girl trapped behind this bunker door in the demo, you can't find, or at least I don't think you can find the object to unlock this door. If you can, let me know in the comments. I would imagine come September when the game is out, somewhere in this area will hold that key. They probably just didn't want to include it in the demo. I highly doubt we are going to have to backtrack to this area after hours of progress because the key was in a different area in the game. I could be wrong on this, of course, but I really don't think so. Otherwise, that's just poor level design in my opinion. Then again, we don't really know how the levels interweave, so maybe not. Could be great level design, we just don't know yet. Your quests are displayed as this web of nodes. Now, I personally would just rather have a list, but this is okay. It really wasn't a big deal. Any info you find will be written down on these different nodes, so if you're ever lost, just read through them again and they'll help you get back on track. I'm very much looking forward to the full release of this game. This is one of those games that clearly knows its niche and what it wants to be. It's not trying to appeal to everyone, and I can appreciate that. That said, some systems do feel like they're just getting started. I'm especially looking forward to trying out more weapons and drone abilities. In the demo, you really only get a taste of what those can do, and it feels like just the tip of the iceberg, especially some of the trailer clips. Like some of this stuff looks pretty nuts. Enemy variety is another big one. In the demo, you mainly fight the holowalkers with the occasional holowalker linked to that haze creature. I'm hoping the full game mixes things up more visually and mechanically to keep the tension from going stale. So is it worth playing through the demo? Yes. Definitely give it a shot if it's still up. It's short, it's different, and it'll give you a solid benchmark on how this game will run on your PC. If you're into dark supernatural worlds with heavy atmosphere and minimal hand-holding, you'll probably feel right at home with this one. And yeah, this is absolutely my kind of weird. I'll be keeping my eye on this one, and I'm genuinely looking forward to the full release, which is on September 4th. With all that said, thanks for watching. Take excellent care of yourself, call someone you love, and goodbye!